everybody. Welcome to the Cheryl Technology Channel. I am your host, Chris, again, back with, yes, you guessed it, another video, but this one's a little different. So I basically decided that I was going to go on this adventure of content filtering to try to figure out what was the best way to filter content. Now, this is going to be a series because there are so many things that I found out, and none of them were very good. So this is what I'm going to get into this. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. And I have 56 subscribers. Thank y'all. Peace. Let's get into it. So I want to start this video off with the introduction. The introduction is this, that I spent a good week looking at different content filtering solutions. And I mean, there are many ways to filter content. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. There are numerous ways to do it. There are numerous programs to do it, and none of them actually do it. I mean, they do it all right, but none of them are actually foolproof. So with that said, let's get into it. The first point I want to make, okay, I got to tell y'all about content filtering a little bit and what it is. So basically you're wanting to manage access to certain websites. That's basically what it amounts to, or applications. So for instance, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, sometimes parents want to limit their kids' screen time, stuff like that. Basically what I wanted to do, I wanted to take it like 5 steps further than that. I wanted to be able to narrow it down to the device, and also blocking anything that doesn't have to do with school or learning. What I found was something very bad. I found that there's really no good way to do that. Now, you have 2 types of filtering, right? You have, well, 2 basic types. The basic types are this. One is at the gateway level. So you have a device on your network that blocks content or filters. Content filtering filters your content. The next one is you have a subscription to a server that your gateway connects to that filters your DNS request. Now, that's a common way to do things. Most school districts will use DNS filtering, specifically a program called Bark, which I tried, and I'll give the results of that in another video. But basically, those are the 2 types. You have in-home filtering and out-of-home filtering. So DNS filtering is the one that is probably the most common because it is the easiest to set up. You take your router, you point it as an IP address somewhere, and whenever it has a DNS query, it says, okay, forward this traffic to this IP address and do the filtering there. OpenDNS is a great solution for this. 208, 220, and 220. And then the last 2 are 222, 222. That's the primary and the secondary for OpenDNS, in case y'all are wondering. And it's free. Now, if you want to pay, but if you pay for it, $20 a year, it gives you custom filtering. Okay, so basically that's how that goes. So you have DNS filtering, but I've tried both. I've done both. And at-home filtering is better, kind of. It depends. It is very difficult these days to find. I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. I looked at Sophos XG, Home Firewall. I looked at many things. So basically what I was looking for was something that would filter times with devices along with the username. That is a hard combination to find, and it's expensive. You can find it, but it's expensive. Hear me, expensive. So that it's not really feasible, because in this video I was wanting to figure out a way to give y'all to filter your content of your kids, because I know that's what you really want to do. You want to keep them safe on the internet and stuff, and that's the best way to do it, is to filter. But I don't believe here's what I found, is that it's not about the filtering part of it per se. It's about figuring out a way to open the conversation to your kids so that you can talk to them about these things. And I mean, filtering is a perfect opportunity to do that. Now, what I found, I had less than desirable results on the filtering. It is difficult. I'm still not done with this video. I'm not done with the series yet. What I've tried Bark, and I tried several others, but I can't remember the names, so they must not have been that good. So basically, that's what I wanted y'all to see, is that in this video, I just wanted to look at it a little bit. So now, that's what content filtering is. Now, the second point I want to make is that when I tried to do, here's what I found, is that when I would try to install an application on their device, they were able to just uninstall it. No admin password, no nothing. I'm like, well, that's stupid. Doesn't it, it's a content filter. Doesn't it have to have root access to the device? If it has root access, then it should have a password, especially if it's Android. But that wasn't the case. They were able to just uninstall it, and I'm like, well, that's absolutely pointless. And that was an expensive one. And I'm like, well, that's not even worth my time now, because they just bypassed it without even thinking about it. So here's what I also found. Now, for some of you who are uninitiated in the technology field, this is a lot of times you will have a VPN to bypass things, right? A VPN was never intended to bypass. Hear me. It was never intended to bypass. That's not what it's for. It is intended to move content securely between two endpoints. 2 points. That's what it was meant to do. To encrypt the connection between this point and this point. That's what it was always meant to do. The way they're using it now is an abomination. That's not what it's meant to do. Now, there is a way to block it. There is, but it's hard because your traffic moves on a network on HTTP, HTTPS, right? Web traffic, like this web browser, see right here, HTTPS. If we were to look at the traffic, it would be port 443 or 8443, right? Now, the issue is if you go in and you say, okay, I want to block a point-to-point connection, because that's what actually happens on most of the VPNs are a point-to-point. They will connect to an endpoint somewhere, a server, to bypass the firewall now, or filtering. Now, what I found is I can block it. I know how to block it now. So you set up a rule in your firewall that says, hey, I don't want any traffic coming from the internal to the external to have, you want to block all the services for the VPNs. The issue with the VPN I use is that it is a port 443, which means if you block that, you block everything. And therein lies the problem. So now, what I found is that if you buy the router I have, so I switched to a different router, which is a, oh crap, what was it? TP-Link something, blah, blah, blah. And so the TP-Link, I don't even use the wireless because I have access points, so I don't need the wireless portion. But I use the routing portion, the DHCP server, which is going away soon, because I'm going to use a Linux device to do that. But basically, that's what I found, is that you're kind of caught in a catch-22 because you can't filter and then filter. I mean, I was trying to filter heavily, but because of the bypasses and the workarounds, I couldn't find a way to securely do it. And I still haven't found a way to do it. Now, there are ways to do it where it is viable, but, okay, right? So you have filtering on the device, right? An application, something like that. Or you have filtering at the network level, okay? So basically what I found is that filtering at the network level is probably better because it scans all the incoming and outgoing traffic. Well, typically not outgoing because it's just creating an entry in a table somewhere that keeps track of the MAC address at layer 2. So, but that's neither here nor there. So basically what happened was the traffic coming in, right? So I tried to figure out, I'm like, okay, so how do I take this content and block? How do I block it this way? How do I block it? There's got to be some way to do this. And so this leads me to point 3. There isn't. I tried every way under the sun to block everything and to block certain things. So the issue arises when you have specific devices, right? Okay, you have specific devices tied to users, but those users have to be in a managed account. That's where the problem comes in, the managed accounts. Now, Google does a very good job of this because that I can say Family Link is very good. Now, very good. It's very good. I used it. That's what I used for my son. Because his phone requires a Google or a Gmail account, right? It automatically filters as long as I have him in the filtering portion. He can't bypass it. It's embedded into the phone. That's the good thing about Google Link, Cloud Link, or Google Family Link. Sorry, y'all. So then, that's what I actually learned. I learned that Google makes a good filter for this. But the rest of them, I mean, if you can just uninstall the stupid thing, then what's the point? I mean, there's Net Nanny. I mean, look right here. Look right here. Content filtering. So DNS, blah, Titan HQ. I even was going to try them, but their stuff is expensive. Bark, I tried this one, and it didn't work either. I mean, I tried the AT&T version because that's where you run into the problem, right? So if they're connected to the Wi-Fi at home, but then they just say, oh, let's just turn the Wi-Fi off and use their data. Then how do you do that? What, do you buy another application to do that? No. That's stupid, man. Somebody, for the love of all that's good, come out with an application that actually works and make it affordable. If you do that, you're a billionaire. It's simple. It's not actually that simple. So I wanted to make that clear. That's my point 3, is that I wanted to make this clear that this is not easy to do. It is difficult. It's time consuming, setting up the rules, because I don't do anything the easy way. Nor have I ever. I like to work through things and do those things. That's what I like to do. But for most of y'all, you want to install the application and it just work. That's what it should be. Honestly, that's the way it should work. But the reality is that most times it's not going to work that way. It's just not. I hate to say that, but it's true. So, the conclusion of this. So, in my next part of this video, in this series, I'm going to do I did a trial of Bark and shut it off after like the second day because Bark is more of a reporting service than it is a filtering service. I wanted to make that clear too. So in the next part, I will do the review of Bark so that you can see it. It's more of I get 1,000 emails from this company. There were so many emails that came through in my inbox that it drove me crazy. And I had no idea. I'm like, this doesn't even have anything to do with what I'm wanting to see. But I mean, maybe you can set that up. I don't know. So that's all the video, y'all. I wanted to start this series off right, and I think I did that. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so every time I release a video, you get a notification. And until the next video, y'all, may the Lord of peace be with each and every one of you, and walk in peace, my brothers and sisters. And until the next video, peace.